Hello folks and welcome into TK Power Sports. I am currently sitting in the Kawasaki Teryx5 H2 and I'm lined up with our offset mounts. Now normally when we do truck testing and SUV testing, we run through these mounts to see how far we can lift the wheels off the ground and test the four-wheel drive systems. We even do that for other side-by-sides. But here in the H2, the testing process on these mounts is totally different because it changes these mounts into high-speed whoops. Let me show you. That's absolutely ridiculous. This thing is on a next level of performance and I want to show you guys what it is about. So in this video, we're gonna do a lot of high-speed off-roading, a little bit of rock crawling, find the mud, and we're gonna jump it. So make sure you stay tuned. Let's start by talking size, and this thing is a monster. Dimensions measure in at 159.4 inches long, 74 inches wide, and 73.8 inches tall. The wheelbase here stretches to 126 inches, while the curb weight, that includes all the fluids ready to ride, comes in at 2,504 pounds. The off-road numbers are pretty big here too as well. Front suspension travel measures in at 23.2 inches. Rear travel comes in at 24 inches. And this thing uses Fox 3-inch live valve internal bypass shocks with piggyback reservoirs. And yes, they can control their compression damping on the fly. This unit also has 16.1 inches of standard ground clearance. For tires, those are Maxxis Carnivore Plus 33-inch tires, and they are fully beadlock capable. And for stoppers, you are getting 270 millimeter discs with 3 piston calipers in the front and twin piston calipers in the rear. And this is the heart of the beast. That is an inline 4-cylinder 999cc engine paired with a supercharger. And that's different from what you see in the side-by-side segment. All the other models use turbochargers. Now they both provide more air to help the engine breathe, but a turbocharger uses exhaust gases to actually turn that impeller and force the air into the engine. A supercharger uses a belt-driven pulley off of the crankshaft. And the whole benefit of a supercharger is no lag. You just get this smooth build of power, and we'll talk more about that in a little bit. One other thing I like is they actually made the supercharger red, so it's really easy to spot. That's just a fun little feature on this engine. Overall output here, 250 horsepower, which yes, makes this the most powerful production side-by-side ever sold, and 146 pound-feet of torque. And again, unlike some other brands that have gone to real geared transmissions, Kawasaki's stuck with a belt-driven CVT. Now let's go see if we can slow this thing down with a little bit of mud. So I've got it in low gear, but I am in full power mode. And I know it'll go through here. What I'm most curious about is, can I get out here into the middle of this thick stuff, crank my wheel, and climb out of the ruts? Let's see if it'll climb for us. Oh, it wants to. It wants to. There we go. Okay, it made it. Can the rears get out too? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. I'm crab walking now, big time. Wow, so not quite. Now, that was a combination of grip from the tires. It's also a big, heavy vehicle. So in those ruts, yeah, I was pretty much stuck in there. That was okay. If I really hit the throttle, maybe it would have got those wheels turning and pulled me out a little bit more. But yeah, what I think I felt there mostly, that you can't get around, is this thing is heavy. Now the other thing this thing does not do very well is turn. And you know, here in the forest, I'm always trying to turn around tight corners and around trees, and it does not like to turn. Now nothing with the wheelbase this long likes to turn, but I would actually say this H2 is worse than some of the other big four-seaters I've driven. It just never wants to turn. Luckily there's a huge rock up there. Normally I'd have to do another correction, and this thing I just ran right over it, so at least you can do that. But yes, do not expect a good turning radius out of this machine. Now, coming back down the hill, we're gonna leave it in low range, and we will see what the engine braking looks like here. So yes, low range, still in full power mode. I'm lifted off the throttle, off the brakes now. Ooh. Okay, interesting. So right now I'm running away, freewheeling, and engine. Freewheeling, and engine brake. So that wasn't very smooth engine braking. It kind of lets you take off, and then the engine braking catches you, and then lets you take off, and then it catches you. And granted, if it was a longer hill, it would have done a better job. That was a short one. But you can also tell it's just not designed for that super slow, low range speed. You know, even coming down the hill, it wants to go a little bit quicker. So yeah, the engine braking on stuff like this, just okay. Now there is one thing I can do here though that I don't normally do, which is to essentially just blast through the mud. Let's see how that feels. Now there's one thing I do want to stop right here and have you guys notice, and that is look where that tire is and look where that fender ends. That tire is way out there, so this thing absolutely throws the mud. And then once again, that's not something you're gonna get around just because of where those tires are. So essentially be ready to get a little bit muddy if you're out there hitting the throttle in the soft stuff. Now folks, I do want to feel this thing at slow speeds crawling as well. So we got this little rock pile here. I'm gonna climb up and over it. I do anticipate that my breakover angle might not be enough for this. And that's one thing you get with such a long wheelbase, right? So I'm in low range, four-wheel drive, but full power mode. Nice. Oh, a little sketchy there. I don't want to spin the tires too much up here. Oh, and there, that might be a little belly rub. My rear's coming over that big rock. Nice. So I will say that low range is okay, but it's a little bit tall. I really feel like I'm digging into this pedal more than I want to. So right now, I am gonna go over into mid-power mode, still in low. Let's see if that feels like it makes a difference. So it is making a difference, but I don't like it. Actually, it's worse. I feel like I have to dig my foot further into that pedal to get that power. So I'm not sure I would leave it in mid or even low power mode for rock crawling. I want it in full. And right now I'm 2-foot braking or 2-foot driving a little bit. Nice, and actually, I don't think my belly dragged at all, which is pretty incredible because of how long this wheelbase is. So overall, I would just say the angles here for rock crawling are incredible. The tires were plenty good. The issue is just, low range isn't super low. And I think, again, that just suggests the nature of this machine. It's really for high-speed flying, not so much for the slow-speed rock crawling crowd. And I wonder if Kawasaki won't come along and maybe release a rock crawling model with a low range. But for now, I definitely will rock crawl, but the low range, I would say, isn't ideal for it. And now, everybody, it is time to go fast. And make no mistake, this H2 was designed to go fast, specifically in the deserts of the Southwest. This is a desert machine. So driving it here, you know, in the Northeast in an Ontario forest is not exactly what it was meant for. However, it is for sale on the East Coast. It is for sale in Canada, so it can live in places like this, but that just has to be stated clearly that this was designed for wide open spaces, not for places where we have these pesky things called trees, because let me tell you, the trees come up on you real quick. Now, with that said, we've come out here to what is a mostly open road. There's some big ruts and potholes in this road. Not quite the whoops you find in the desert, but some of these potholes are easily as deep as some of those whoops. So this really gives me a sense for, yeah, what this thing feels like cruising at speed. And here we go. We're gonna run it in high range. We're going to put it into full power mode, and let's feel it. And off the line, folks, the power is ridiculous, and the reason why you go for the supercharger is because it's smooth. It is this smooth, seamless power right off the line. Which you can't say about a turbo, you can't say it here. Oh my gosh. Now, I come on this road regularly with, you know, trucks and SUVs, so my brain is very much calibrated for a half-ton pickup truck, where my speeds on this road rarely top 30, 40 kilometers an hour. And let me tell you, I have been hitting this stuff at 80 to 90 kilometers an hour, and I still don't feel like I've hit the limit of this H2. The limits here are absolutely sky high. What this machine can do is ridiculous. It's truly the closest you're gonna get to a trophy truck without going to a full-size trophy truck. I'm almost tempted to say it's a magic carpet ride. You're looking at the trail in front of you going, those are some massive whoops, and then you drive over them at a crazy speed and you barely feel them. One time somebody described a trophy truck to me as a duck, and that's because you want the body of the duck on top of the water to be dead smooth, but underneath the surface, you want those duck legs to just be working like crazy, and that's what this feels like. The body just stays dead flat, dead smooth, and the suspension is doing all of the work to allow me to hit these things at such ridiculous speeds. Now again, naturally on these trails, yeah, I can only see so far ahead, I can only see so far around corners, so I naturally start slowing down because it just gets dangerous so fast. So I can't drive that point home enough. You need wide open spaces to really feel this H2 come alive. And that's where, you know, I've been in the desert plenty of times. The desert riding is the best because you can be wide open for, you know, many minutes or even an hour at a time and get into that flow state. So power, ridiculous. Suspension, absolutely ridiculous. And then when it comes to the steering wheel, it is speed-sensitive steering. And as I speed up, it gets a little bit lighter in my hands. A little bit lighter than I'd like, if I'm honest. Because when you're really moving at speed, you want to feel like you're getting good feedback. You want to feel like you're really understanding what the machine is doing. And this makes it, yeah, a little bit lighter than I like. But once again, magic carpet ride. The steering is so light. I'm putting in such little inputs, and yet I am flying down this trail at insane speeds. So in just another way, the H2 makes you feel like an absolute superhero. And it takes no force from my hands to do this trail at 60 to 70 kilometers an hour in a straight line, which is just absolutely crazy. So yes, this is one of those machines where I'm sure you're gonna watch even these high-speed drive-bys and go, that doesn't look like anything. Well, this is one of the machines where it is so good that it makes even stuff like this look totally easy. Now let me mention ergonomics and controls. I like the suspension controls here on my steering wheel. I've been running in full soft for most of the day. We did run through our big 2-foot moguls, and I did it once in soft and once in firm, and you can see it here in slow motion. First soft, then firm. And the difference is definitely apparent. From inside the vehicle in firm, there's just a lot more force
coming into the actual cab and moving the body around. But you know what, if you're hitting things even faster than I'm going today, you're gonna want that firm setting to make sure you never bottom out. Again, I've been in soft all day, it's been swallowing up everything, and I don't feel anywhere close to the limit. So soft has worked well for me, but nice to have firm. And when the speeds get this crazy, it's also nice to have controls on the steering wheel so you can quickly just grab them and go. Now, I do want to switch over. Let's go down to low power mode and just talk about this for a minute. So this is foot to the floor in low power mode. And foot to the floor in low power mode feels quick. It doesn't feel bonkers anymore though. And I actually really appreciate that on a machine like this. On a machine, again, where the limits are so high and it can go so quick, give me a mode A for beginners, B for people who maybe haven't done this before and haven't been in a high-speed machine before, and then C if you're doing slow-speed maneuverability. You just want to park it in the garage. Having this low power mode makes it this much easier to just, really gently cruise down the trail or park somewhere. So it's nice that Kawasaki gives you those modes. And of course you can sort of still just modulate the throttle, but when you're in full power mode, it can get jumpy. So low power mode takes all that jump out of it. And I like the way they're named too. Low power, mid power, high power. The name is really obvious as to what it does. Unlike a lot of other brands who have low power modes, but they call them work mode. I don't think work mode is necessarily the best name for it. Now other ergonomics, I fit in here great. Really like the dead pedal on my left foot. I'm using that constantly to anchor my body in here. The 4-point harness is solid, not really feeling like it's getting in the way or hugging me too tight. The bolstering in the seats, perfect for me, not squeezing me too much, holding me though just the right amount. So yeah, ergonomically I do feel like I fit in here good. And then the seating position, as compared to some other pure sport side-by-sides, it's a little taller. It's nowhere near a utility machine, but as compared to sort of a Maverick R, let's say, or a Maverick X3, where you feel like you sit down in that machine, this machine, I do feel like I'm up sort of on top of it. I also feel like just because it's so long, I'm almost like over top of the front axle. I feel so far forward, and that's just a case because the machine is so big and there's so much back there behind me. But yeah, ergonomically, no complaints. I fit in here good. I like the bolstering on the steering wheel too. Really easy to grab and rip down the trail. If I have to complain about something, it's rear visibility. I do wish I had side mirrors here. I'm sure I could get those from the accessory catalog. And you can get a camera installed on the rear, and I would absolutely recommend the rear camera. It's really hard to see out of the back here. Although if I'm honest, at 60 grand, Kawasaki, you couldn't throw in a backup camera. That seems a little bit ridiculous to me. At this price point, in the deluxe model, give me all those features. That should not be an option. That should be standard, but it's something to keep in mind. And if you're riding in a place like I do, where you will constantly having to be doing 3-point turns, especially because this thing is just so big, you need something to help with rear visibility.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we are coming to the end of this one. Now, I am thoroughly muddy, the machine is thoroughly muddy, and we've had a great day of riding, and I want to leave you with a few final thoughts. The first one is that right now, I am feeling totally worn out, and that is just because driving the H2 is so intense. It is so quick, and you're constantly moving at such crazy speeds, hitting obstacles at speeds I didn't even think you could, and because of that, yeah, it takes their toll on the driver, not really physically, but mentally. I'm just worn out. Now, second of all, I already said this, but I have to reiterate it. You need wide open spaces to properly appreciate what this machine can do. I would constantly put my foot into it and have to lift about 2 seconds later because I was coming into a corner full of trees. So yes, the desert is where this thing is going to feel at home. And then third, we have to talk about price. Here in Canada, this machine, as you see it, is $60,000. And Canadians only get this model, which is the Teryx5 H2. It's the 5-seater and the deluxe model. So we don't get any choice here. In the US, you have more models and you can get just the 4-seater. So yes, the prices are a little more affordable. But here, this is a $60,000 machine, which basically means it's a toy for rich people because this thing is a pure toy. There is no utility here. There's no hitch. The bed is next to useless. So yes, you're just buying this for fun, and not many of us can afford to spend 60 grand on something that is just fun. Now, I do want to address the price though, because what I hear in the comments section on YouTube all the time and when talking to people is, oh my gosh, it's 60 grand. For that, I could buy a brand new vehicle. And you're totally correct. You could buy a Jeep Wrangler for that. You could buy a Ford Bronco for that. You could buy many good off-road trucks for that price. However, this is in an entirely different category than those are. None of those machines I just mentioned could hit that trail I did today at that speed, and therefore none of them are this intense and absolutely thrilling. So while yes, you do have to ask yourself the question, where is my money better spent? And the vehicle is, way more practical than this. You cannot compare the actual off-road experience. If you're looking for outright ridiculous thrills, it's the H2 every single time. And yeah, folks, I think that is all I have to say about this, and I am spent, so I need to go relax for a bit. But before you go, please drop in the comments, let me know what you think of this Kawasaki. While you're down there, don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit join, become a member of our channel, and then come right back here to TK's Power Sports and see what we're testing next. See ya.